Using the conversation technique to deal with anxiety. That's what we're going to talk about today. Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So, conversational technique to deal with anxiety. This is how I deal with anxiety and worry. I use the conversational technique and it helps to create the outcome that I want. And yeah, so just before we jump into it, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely subscribe, hit the bell icon below because I do put out new videos every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, each one of them with the intention that you will create something wonderful in your life. And if you're looking for any extra help to speed up your manifestation, there are coaches available to help you, and the link is in the description below. So, conversational technique for anytime that I'm worried about the outcome, I use conversational technique. So a good example of that was one day I'd bought something from the grocery store and it was already expired, and I'm all like, well, no. I'm like, it was already expired. Like, I didn't check. So I didn't have the receipt. So my first worry was, well, they're probably not going to take it back because I didn't have the receipt. And so then, of course, that's what I thought in my head. So then at the time, I was like, oh, Andrew's like, well, what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, oh, it's expired and I don't have the receipt. And he's like, oh, they probably won't take it back. And I was like, yeah, I just thought that. That was one of my worries. So then all of a sudden I looked at him and I was like, no. You know what's going to happen? I'm going to go down there and I'm going to take it back. And the lady that I go to see, she's going to be like, I just saw you here 2 days ago. So yeah, no problem. I remember you buying it. I'll refund it without the receipt. And then she's going to ask me if I want the money back on my debit card. I'm going to say yeah. And she's going to give me my refund. And then I'm going to walk out of there and everything's going to be fine. So that's what I had said to Andrew. So I think it was either later that day or the next day, we ended up going to the grocery store and I brought this thing that I was going to return. And then sure enough, he stayed in the car. I went in and I was like, hey, and guess what? Word for word, everything that I had said happened. She said, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I remember you buying it a couple days ago. Yeah, you'll return it without the receipt. No problem. And she even asked if I wanted the money back on my debit card. And I was like, yes. So that's an example of the conversation technique when it comes to dealing with anxiety. Like, let's be honest, okay? Anxiety is worrying about an outcome. It's worrying about what people will think about you. It's worrying, okay? And anxiety is always worrying about the worst case scenario, okay? Like, I know this may not seem like the best example, but I mean, I was worried that I wasn't going to get my money back for something that I bought that was already expired because I threw out a receipt. Now, it was still a worry. It was a valid worry in my reality as far as I was concerned, right? So anything that you're worried about, you want to either, talk it out with somebody else and tell them exactly how it's going to work out, or you want to have a conversation at least about it in your head. Okay. So how it works in your head is simple. You just, go through it. You're like, say, for instance, you're going to be canceling, going out with somebody on Friday, and you're a little bit worried that they're going to be upset. So in your head, you would say to, oh, well, I'm going to, sorry, I can't be there on Friday. And, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. She's going to be totally fine with it. And she's going to be totally fine with it. She's going to go out with her other friends and she's going to say, call me later. And so you create that story of what's going to happen. Okay. So you want to create that in every area that you're worried. It's a really fun way to do it. My famous line is, you know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. So I always start my conversations with that. In my mind, I'm worried. I'm like, oh, what happens if I don't get there on time? No, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get there on time. In fact, you know what? The cab's going to show up like right now and I'm going to be there with plenty of time to spare. It's like we drove up to Chilliwack and it's quite a drive from here, and it's like worrying about traffic. And I'm like, I'll tell you what's going to happen. For some reason, nobody's going to be on the road. The roads are going to be empty and we're going to get there on time. Like, that's what's going to happen, right? So start creating those conversations in your head and, what is going to happen, start it just like that. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And, always create those stories. Even still, for instance, if you're scared about telling somebody something, it's like, okay, well, I'm scared that they're going to be disappointed. It's like, no, I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to let them know that I can't do it and they're going to be okay with it and they're going to understand. Done, right? So, yeah. Anyways, that is the conversation technique for anxiety. You can use it for anything, pretend you're having a conversation in your head with other people and the conversations are going the way that you want them to go, Yeah, like for instance, going over to Jerry's house. Jerry's like, "Oh, you look so nice." Thank you. I know it's my new jacket, right? Like, start creating and having conversations with people that make you feel good, and those conversations will actually manifest in your reality. And that's particularly good with when it comes to dealing with anxiety and worry. And worrying about the outcome is because you're actually creating the outcome. And yeah. Anyways, that's my video for today. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. You guys are all amazing, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.